Morning, everybody. My name's Belinda, and I'm here to do your third session of Pilates in your PJs. So it's a mixed ability session, 30 minutes long, and I just want to make sure that you've got enough space to exercise this morning. You've got some water with you as well, so do stop and get a sip of water at any time. It's a mixed ability session, so I will give some options to make things harder, but it's quite important that you do stick to the level that your body is comfortable with. And if you do have any questions or any comments or any questions about the exercises, you can always leave us a comment and I can reply, or you can get in touch to belinda@bbody.co.uk and I can answer your questions. But we can get ourselves going with a warm-up. So we're going to start standing this morning. So just make sure that you have got a mat or at least a nice soft thick carpet for you to work on. I'm just thinking about our posture to begin with. The feet are hip width apart. We're standing nice and tall. So just imagine somebody's grabbing a piece of string through the crown of the head and drawing you up towards the ceiling. So you're lengthening through the spine. The knees are soft, don't lock through the joints. The tail is tucked under to create that nice neutral spine. We've got a natural curve at the base of the spine there. And the collarbone is open so that the shoulders are stabilised. And what I'd like you to do is take 2 breaths in, please. Lateral thoracic breaths, so the rib cage expands and releases, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Then I would like you to set your core to 30%. So your transverse abdominis is drawing in to 30% and your pelvic floor is lifting to floor 3. So it's like a deeper connection, rib cage to hip, and drawing up through the pelvic floor. And try and hold the core centering throughout the session. From here, I would like you to just start with some gentle side bends. And your timing is with your breathing. So breathe naturally. And as you breathe out, you move. So you might be going at a different pace than me. That's absolutely fine. Try to keep the knees soft and then just double check, is your core lightly set as you move? And hold it here. We can take the feet a little bit wider. So stepping out with the feet wider than hips, turning the feet onto a 45-degree angle. Again, that lovely posture, and we're just going to gently lean into the knee and release. Don't take the knee further than the toe. And listen to the body, make sure that the knees are happy with that movement. We can bring the arm in again. And we can start to do a small reach through the back as you lean into the knee. Again, the timing is with the breathing. Don't take the knee further than the toe. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And just breathe at a natural pace. Let's take this movement a little bit further. So we're going to reach and then circle round and then hands to shoulder height. Let's do the other side. Lean over into the knee, circle round, bit of movement through the back. Not too much at this point though. So we're warming up through the knees, hips, ankles, shoulder, little bit through the back as we reach across with the arm. And the last one like that. And release. Then we do a plie, double arm circle. And we're going to begin with 2 standing exercises today. So release the arms to shoulder height and then walk the feet in. Okay, we're going to start with a standing torso twist. This is a strength exercise and mobility exercise for the back. So I'm going to show you 2 levels of this one. And I'll talk through sort of where the difference is and why. But if we can come back just to this feet wide position, it's important that you keep your core set to stabilise. Will also help your balance, this exercise. And we're going to begin just with the fingertips behind the head, shoulders stabilised and down, core set back in neutral. And we're going to turn and reach hand to knee, but the hips stay facing forwards and the pelvis stays still. So we exhale, do the other side, hand to knee and release. So keep the core set, reaching through the upper back here. Try not to lean forwards from the hips. And you breathe out as you reach across. Now, if there's any problems with osteoporosis through the spine, or any problems through the back, you could just stay at that level. So we could have a rest, and then we could do another 8 if you want to. But if you want to make that harder, this time instead of the hand reaching to the knee, we're going to extend a little bit further with that hand down towards the inside of the ankle and release. Exhale, reaching down inside of the ankle on the diagonal and release. You can also extend the arms. The one hand stays up, reach down and release. So breathe out as you come down, keep the core set. Try not to transfer the weight over to one side. The weight stays central between the feet. And you can look at the hand behind you if you want a bit of extra challenge for your balance. Keep the core set. And then we can release. Double arm circle. And then bring the feet back in to hip width apart. So that was exercise 1, a standing torso twist. The next exercise we're going to do is a variation of swimming, which is an exercise to strengthen the back. We'll be using the core and it's great for your balance as well. So I'm sure I'll have a wobble, so don't worry too much if you have a wobble, but if there's something you want to hold on to around you, by all means do. So I'm going to turn side on for this one. The key to this one is the position of the back. So we'd like to maintain a neutral spine as we work. So you've got that nice natural curve at the base of the spine. You're drawing in through your core to hold that position. And you're going to extend one leg back and lean forwards. Okay, and then you extend opposite arm. And we're going to hinge forwards from the hip. Okay, so there's very little weight in that back foot. You can hold on to something if you need. Make sure the hips stay facing forwards and the resting hand is glued into the thigh there. Core stays set. Exhale and tip. Inhale, release. Now try not to come up tall and arch the back. Remember, we're trying to stay, in neutral all the time. You've got a nice line, foot, hip, shoulder, ear. Let's do that again. Exhale and tip. Inhale, release. Keep that lovely line. Make sure the hip isn't twisting. Supporting legs slightly bent. Using your core for balance. Particularly making sure you're lifted through the pelvic floor. Breathe out as you lean and tip. And we're going to do 8 in total. You'll start to feel that through the glute, on the supporting leg, through the shoulder on the elevated arm, through the back. And then we can release, I think that was 8. And give the legs a bit of a shake. Okay, let's do the other side. I'll turn around just so you can see what's happening, but you don't have to. Keep the hips facing forwards, coming into position to begin with. Straight leg behind, leaning forwards, shoulder, hip, knee, foot, all in line. And we've got the opposite arm coming up and the resting hand gluing into the thigh. Core stays set and you lean and tip. So trying to keep that straight line, foot to hand. And we're going to do 8 again. Now keep that back leg really straight. If you're not sure, hold on to something. You can also take your arms out of the equation to make this a little bit more manageable. To make it more difficult, you go further each time. Exhale as you tip and lean. Inhale as you release. Don't let this hip twist. The timing is with the breathing. And again, as I say, 8 to do. I think that's 8 for me, but it's a bit difficult to count and keep on top of everything else at the same time. So as long as you're doing 8, that's the important thing. So we're going to come down onto the floor. So we're going to come into a 4-point kneeling position. So just take your time, come down to the floor, and we're going to do a prone leg pull. So a prone leg pull, we've got a couple of different options for this one. 4-point kneeling position means that the hands are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, the hands are shoulder width apart, fingers spread, and the knees are hip width apart. And the back is in neutral, so settling into a neutral spine. Now level 1 on this prone leg pull, you can just tuck the toes under. And then elbows are soft, keeping the core set. As you breathe out, you hover the knees away from the floor. As you breathe in, you gently bring the weight back down again. Level 2, you can bring the knees back a little bit. Shoulders stay over the hands, core is set. And this time you exhale and straighten the legs. Shoulders stay over the hands, inhale and release. Trying to maintain this lovely position through the back. To make this harder again, we can begin in this position. Shoulders over hands, back in neutral, core set. And you lift the foot and slowly release. And either way we can do 8 of these. So choose the position that you want to do and you can begin. Make sure the core stays set. I'm going to choose this mid-line position. So the bottom shouldn't rise up in the air. The hips almost start and begin in exactly the same position. Elbows soft, shoulders over the hands, head in line with the spine, and the core stays set. So you'll feel this through the tummy, through the arms obviously, upper back, backs of the legs if you're lifting that foot. Doing 8 in total, taking your time. But if 8's too many, just have a rest. I'm really feeling that through my core and through the tops of my arms. So when you've done 8, just sit back for a stretch. And then we're going to work the opposing line from that one. So that was a prone leg pull. Now we're going to do a supine leg pull. So supine leg pull, we're sitting. The fingertips are pointing in towards the bottom. We're nice and tall through the chest. Now you can work this one with one leg straight if you prefer. It's a little bit easier. Just make sure that flat foot doesn't come too close towards you. Squeezing through the glutes, and you push up through the backs of the legs. And then you change leg. And we're going to do 8 in total. Or you straighten both legs. Fingertips still pointing towards the bottom, still chest lifted back in neutral core set. Squeeze the glutes, exhale and push up, inhale, release. So just begin on whatever level suits you. Do 8 in total. And we have got an alternative for this one. If you don't like the supine leg pull, you could do a shoulder bridge instead. You still squeeze the glutes and you tilt and you peel the hips up from the floor. But if you can go with this supine leg pull, it's going to work and tone a little bit through the backs of the arms as well. Remember, if you're working with one leg bent, it's slightly easier. Just keep changing the leg every time and make sure that that foot doesn't come too close. Now try not to push off the arms. The work actually comes through this back line here. The glutes squeeze and are strong to push the hips up. You're not hanging from the heel to the hands. 8 in total is fine, and you're probably there with your 8. Remember to keep the chest lifted. Chin stays the same distance away from the chest all the time. Don't drop the head back. And then when you've done 8, you can release and stretch forwards over the legs. Now I know that one can be quite tough on the wrists. That's half the point of it. It's really good for building bone density through the wrists. But if your wrists hurt or they ache the next day, then perhaps it's a bit too much for them. And next time, either dial the exercise down a bit or come down and do your shoulder bridge instead. Okay, from there we're going to come onto the side. So we're going to do a side bend, or a variation of a side bend. With this one, I'm going to work on a long arm, but you can do this down on the elbow if you prefer, okay? Core stays set, legs are bent for level 1, hands comes onto the feet here, elbows soft, and as you breathe out, you lift and push the hip up, push over into a side bend, and slowly come down under control. So we're going to do 8 again. So you start with that. To make this a little bit harder, we can extend the top leg if you prefer, and lift, and the top leg can come away from the floor and then down. And to make this even harder again, if you felt you wanted to, the legs can straighten, top foot to the floor in front of you, core set, and we lift, straight legs, into that side bend and down. So lots of options. Do 8. You can work from the elbow if you prefer. And the key is lifting this hip up and coming up into a lovely arc. If you're on the long arm, make sure that elbow is soft. think I'll bring that hand a bit closer towards me. And this is a strength exercise, working through the obliques as the hips push up, obviously a little bit through this shoulder as well. So 8 in total. Exhale as you come up, inhale as you come down. Then when you've done your 8, we can do a mermaid stretch. So the legs are out to one side, this front foot is just in front of the knee, arm extended, up and over and tilt. And then we can come down onto our side and we can do side lying scissors. So this is a strength exercise for the glutes, for the hip, the lower back here, obliques, abductors, adductors. Big move all the way through the legs. Now the legs are nice and long and strong. Push this top hip away from you so that the waist lifts slightly. The back is in neutral. Everything is well aligned and the head is supported. With the legs, top leg is hip height, feet are pointed, and you're going to scissor the legs. One forwards, one backwards. You try and stay nice and still through the pelvis, and we're going to do 8. Now don't go too quick on this one. Remember, breathe out, legs one way, breathe in, legs other way. Try not to have any movement through the pelvis, through the rib cage. And the difficulty element on this one is how far you can split the feet and how still you can stay. Keep the core set. That includes the pelvic floor being lifted. Eight is fine. You should start to feel that up through the waist and the hip here, through the legs, inner thigh as well. And then when we've done 8, just take a rest. Drop the knee to the floor in front, support the head here, drop the shoulder back. Hand can be on the hip or it can be on the floor just behind the bottom. Feel a nice stretch through the hip here and the shoulder and the chest. Okay, let's push ourselves up to sitting, and then we can flip the legs around the other way and we can do our side bend. So remember your position from before. Do the same level that you did on the last side. Hands can begin at the feet, core set, and we're going to lift up and over into that bend. Push the waist up as you breathe out. Exhale and lift. Inhale and lower. So think about your 6 key principles of Pilates. I talked about those last week, and some providers have more than 6, but in its original form we had the flow of movement, we had control, precision, trying to get it exactly right, breath, lateral thoracic breathing, breathe out as you come up, centering, which is your core being set all the time. And to put all of those things together takes concentration. Again, doing 8. If 8 is too many, just do what you can. Whoop, creeping on my mat a little bit. Don't forget, the focus is pushing the hip up here. That's more the focus than the hand. Trying to come into that lovely bend. And when you've done 8, we'll just come into that mermaid stretch. Hand extends up, tipping over the legs. Got lovely length, hip to hand. And hold it here. Then coming down onto the floor, and we do our scissors again. Lovely posture. Top leg hip height, toes point, begin to scissor the legs. Try not to roll around through the hips. Now I find it harder on this side than I was on the other side, which is interesting. I think it's quite natural to have an imbalance of strength side to side. You know, you'll always open a door with the same hand or pick up your bag with the same hand. That's why Pilates is really good for trying to rebalance any misalignment, either through posture or through muscular strength. Again, we're doing 8. Think about your breathing. Sometimes I go a bit quick because I'm talking, so I'm not thinking about my breath. Core stays set. Really try and split those feet, particularly that back leg as it's pushing back, long and strong. Woo, feel that on the inner thigh. And then when you've done 8, take a rest. We've got our deeper stretch here. Knee drops in front, shoulder drops back, hand on the hip or hand to the floor. And hold your stretch nice and still. And then push up to sitting. Okay, we're going to come onto our back and we're going to do 2 exercises on our back to strengthen our core. So we've got our roll up and our roll over. So your roll up, we begin on our back and the arms extend into the distance. And it's all about connecting the rib cage to the hip and using the tummy muscles to come up, not momentum. But we're going to do a few without coming up to begin with. Set your core, inhale to prepare, exhale, hands come overhead. Now tilt the pelvis, connect rib cage to hips and come up as far as you can and slowly down. Exhale, hands to ceiling, pelvis tilts, rib cage to hip, under control and release. So let's see how smoothly this is going to go today for me. To make it a little bit harder, hands come up, same process to begin, but then we try and come all the way up. Lovely tall neutral spine and slowly down without dropping. But please don't use momentum. You don't have to come all the way up. That can be something you can work towards. Exhale, tilt. Use the tummy muscles, not the muscles in the chest, not the hip flexors. Again, do 8 in total. And if you want to make this even harder, the hands stay higher as you come up and as you come down. You see my feet leaving the floor on that one. So try to do it without the feet leaving the floor. Remember, you tilt the pelvis first and do 8 in total. I think I've got one more. Breathing out. Keeping the core engaged. And then release and take the arms into a don't shoot position. Lovely stretch through the chest. Hold it there. Don't force the arms to the floor, but allow the elbows to open. And then we can do our rollover prep now. With a rollover, it is about control. Please don't fling. The feet come back towards you. The legs lift. The knees come close. The spine imprints. That's fine at the moment. and there's a bend behind the knee. Because what I want you to concentrate on is control on this one. Now the hands come down to the floor, but you don't push off the hands. You're going to try and use the tummy muscles to draw the hips towards the ribs. Exhale, and you're almost trying to curl the bottom away from the floor without the head lifting. Now, the straighter the legs, the harder this becomes. You can add in an extra challenge by allowing the legs to drop a little bit away from you. Now this is rollover prep. The classic exercise, you actually use a little bit of momentum and it comes all the way over with the legs straight and slightly separated. Now you notice I'm using my hands a little bit there to create that. Now, you're welcome to give the classic exercise a try, but not if you have got any issues through the neck or the back. Don't push off the hands. Don't get carried away. Don't fling the legs over. The key is control on this one. 8 in total. And then we can hug the knees in. Place one foot on the floor and we'll do a hamstring stretch. Extend the leg up straight. You can lift the head, neck and shoulders. You can slide the other foot away. You don't have to lift the head though. If you prefer, keep the head down. Just try and keep the hands nice and high so you're not holding on to the bit we're stretching, which is here. Then we can change leg to the other side. Knee in, extend the leg up, slide the other foot away, put the head down if you prefer, tail down towards the floor. Hold that for at least 10 seconds. Don't bounce your stretches. And release. And then roll over onto your side for me, please. Push yourself up to sitting. We're going to take the legs slightly wider than hip width apart. Flex the feet, extend the arms and reach gently forwards. Just use stop where you feel works for you. Keep the backs of the knees down. You can hold on to the toes if you can get there. No need to drop the head. Just keep the head in line with the spine, stretching through the calves and the lower back and the shoulders. And release. Just bring the feet behind you. Come onto the hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Step back. And we're going to slowly roll up. We have done some release stretches throughout the session. Take the feet wide for me, please. Arms open and a double arm circle. So please do leave us a comment. Do like, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, Keeping Essex Active. Give yourself a hug and a squeeze and a pat on the back. And if you'd like to know more about B-Body Fitness, all of our classes are online. What I do here is just a snapshot of what we do. We've got tons of classes online. We've got video call classes. We've got one-to-ones. We've got Facebook Live within a private group. And I can also do personalised Pilates videos that you can have and you can do at home. So there's lots of options to keep you active during lockdown and beyond. So if you want to know more, just contact me at Belinda at Bebody, that's BEBODY.co.uk, or you can find us on Facebook, B-Body Health and Fitness, and obviously the website as well, www.bbody.co.uk. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that set you up for a super Saturday. And if you've got any requests that you want to see for next week, any exercises I haven't done yet, or as I said at the start, any questions about the exercises or any aches, pains or niggles that you're not sure of, please do leave us a comment, get in touch, and I'm happy to help. Until next week for session 4. Bye.